That's all we have to do. But prayer is more than just getting on your knees and saying, please help me. I need help. Please, God, help me. Don't let it get that far. Let prayer be an active expression of the truth in you. The great song that we sing from Stowe Good is, My Life is a Prayer. Remember that song? So my life is a prayer that God, our Spirit, is praying through me. So my life is actually the action of the thoughts of God in me. So when I'm practicing the truth or the thoughts of God in my mind and in my heart, then my life is a prayer. I love it because my life is a prayer that God is praying, and my thoughts are words that God is saying. Isn't that great? My laughter is the sound of angels playing. Those are the lines from that song. And it's so true, isn't it? And the action of prayer connects you to the one. I've often said that the only problem that humanity has, and all of our problems stem from this one, is that we have a mistaken idea that we are separate. That we're separate from God and separate from one another. All of our problems come from that one idea. So today I want to offer you the solution. The one idea that solves that problem is what? We are one. Oneness, yes. You got it. We are one. That I am one with everything. Everything lives in me. That God lives in me. I live in God. And that I live in everyone. And everyone lives in me. We are truly connected in such an intimate way. We all share the same energy. We share the same stuff at all times. So why is it so hard for us to experience that oneness? Because we're living by sight, not by faith. It's hard for us to experience that oneness because you look different than me. Gee, you talk different from me. You have different experiences. You have different ideas. You have different opinions. Oh my goodness. But why should that separate us? Why should your differences threaten me? Why should I be afraid if you're different? It's because I think that what I am is going to disappear. It's not going to be worth anything. That I don't matter. That I'm not enough the way I am. Oh, there's somebody who's better than me. Or I have to make somebody less than me in order to exist in that false sense of self. And the whole world has been going in the wrong direction of developing that self instead of developing our awareness of our God self. So today I want to offer you the solution. How about that? Is that a good idea? That we really are one. We are all one. And just as what I just said, only egos, beliefs, and fears separate us. So I can offer that personality, that ego, to the expression of God. It doesn't have to separate us. I can offer my beliefs to true beliefs, to God beliefs. And I can allay my fears by turning that energy into excitement that we are all one. Excitement that I get more parts of myself to discover in you. I get to discover another part of myself when I join with you. Because you're offering me, truly, a part of myself. And you have experienced life in your way. And what you have to offer is a very unique expression of God. Al, you have a very unique expression of God that we need, that the world needs. If you want to see God, just look at each other. Just endeavor to join one another beyond your ego, beyond your beliefs, and beyond your fears. Because that's the only thing that separates us. Diversity, which is what we are teaching here. We are truly teaching diversity, and it's one of the things. I made a contract with my mentor with Unity Worldwide Ministries that I was going to increase my consciousness of diversity and inclusion. That's what one of the things that I'm focused on this year is to increase our consciousness of diversity, how we are all one. So diversity is so cool. This is just a great statement. The art of thinking independently together. Isn't that cool? Isn't that, you can't even do it with your wife. Come on. No, you have to do it this way, honey. No, honey, you have to do it this way. Come on, you know you're doing it. And then get the whole family together and see if you can practice diversity. It's an art. It's an art of forgiving, actually. Being able to think independently and act independently together, like for a common goal, a common purpose, it's really an art. It really is something that we can cultivate and develop. And I love a good challenge. I love a good project. So for me, this is the project, to continue to think independently, to be myself, authentically, passionately, drastically myself, and to do it together, to allow you to be yourself, passionately, independently, audaciously, whatever, just all the way, be yourself. You know, we don't all look at things the same way. Leonard and I don't look at hardly anything the same way, but we really get along. I mean, it's like one of my best friends now in the whole world. He has been such a good friend to me. And quite often we won't understand where each other's coming from, but we go, okay, it's all right. We can still go in the same direction. And we get it done. Like we are so efficient. He's like the best treasurer I ever met. Like, yeah, I'm not kidding. Because he is so efficient. He just does it. He's moving in a direction that is set forth by our mission, our vision, and our core values. And so if you're focused on your mission in life, your vision in life, and you're coming from your core values, you can never go wrong. You actually will welcome diversity because those are ideas that you previously were not able to access. You get it? You're thinking a little differently than me. That's good, because I don't have those ideas. I want those ideas. It's like that's why we have think tanks, to get together, to think independently and act together. And so I really feel this is a very important thing. I often say we thrive as a community, not in spite of our differences, but because of them. And every interfaith gathering that I go to, I try to remind myself and everyone I'm with that we're not here to tolerate one another. We're here to celebrate each other. Do you get the difference? Oh, I can sit in the same room with those people. No, I want to celebrate those people. No, I want to celebrate the God in you. There's no those people. You know, I just don't get that. I want to celebrate the God in you because you're showing me a part of myself. Remember that. We're all one. You're showing me a part of myself. So we want to celebrate each other. This tolerate business is not enough. It's just not enough. We've got to take another step. Right, guys? Okay. So the reason the world is lacking in unity and it lies broken in heaps is because you're disunited within yourself. This is Ralph Waldo Emerson. Now, Emerson was one of the founders of the New Thought movement, the New England Transcendentalists. They helped to start this new way of thinking of God in us, God in everything, and we're all connected. So the reason that you might be seeing or living in a world that lacks unity is because you don't have unity within your own self, within your own mind and heart. You see yourself in different lights and judge yourself in different ways. And you have a lot of ways of defining yourself that are not true. And that's why in unity we stress that you are the light of the world, that you are perfect. I can't hear that enough, that you are divine at every age. Everything you're doing is perfect. You are divine in your expression. Let's increase our knowledge and awareness of our own divinity and get united within ourself, within our own heart, so that I don't feel threatened by what I see out in the world. When I'm united within myself, nothing threatens me. When I know who I am, nothing threatens me. When I'm expressing the love of God with impunity, nothing threatens me. Because that's what I'm going to do in every situation. And if I do feel fear, I'm going to express the love of God. If I feel love, I'm going to express the love of God. If I feel confused, I'm going to go and express the love of God. If I feel a little lack, I'm going to go and express the love of God, and that will bring me back to feeling abundant. If I'm going through a little challenge, what am I going to do? Oh, that's easy. Now this is the review now. If I'm feeling challenged at work, what am I going to do? If I'm feeling challenged in my body physically, what am I going to do? I'm starting to hear it. If I'm feeling challenged financially, what am I going to do?
Express the love of God.
All right. We're getting there. We're getting there. If I have a talent, what am I going to do with that talent? With impunity, passionately, audaciously, drastically. Come on, Tony, stop messing around with this. You are God in action, bro. I'm talking to myself. That's Tony over there. Remember, you're always talking to yourself. That's going to change your life. We're all one spirit. I'm always talking to myself. Uh-oh. Even that guy I'm yelling at in traffic, I'm going, oh yeah. Pretty soon myself is giving me the finger. I better watch my driving. How come myself doesn't know where to turn here? Don't they have the GPS? Okay, so let's get back to it. Peace comes within the souls of men and women when they realize their oneness with the universe. Think of that. Do you really want peace? We just sang about peace, right? And the Daily Word, you couldn't have scripted that any better. We never planned this because the Daily Word is printed months and months in advance. World peace. I had no idea that was the word for today. But peace comes within the souls of men and women when they realize their oneness with the universe. That's where the peace comes from. We experienced a lot of peace on Thursday night because we focus on that oneness. We claim it. We affirm it. And it's a good practice. We come here to celebrate that oneness, but during the week, you need to practice. We practice that oneness with the universe. We realize that it's everywhere. And if it's everywhere, it's within each and every one of us. Now, that was Black Elk, a very famous Native American man who happens to be an eloquent speaker of the truth. So let's remember our oneness with the universe and remember it's in every one of us. This is a really wonderful man, Nikola Tesla. It's not just an electric car they named after this guy. When they asked Albert Einstein, how does it feel to be the smartest man in the world? He says, I don't know, ask Nikola Tesla. So he says, though free to think and act, we are held together like the stars in the firmament with ties inseparable. And these ties cannot be seen, but we can feel them. We are all one. So the evidence of our oneness is in those unseen, inseparable ties of energy, that which ties us together. You can call it anything you want. You can call it God if you want to. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to using the word spirit. I'm not opposed to source. I'm not opposed to light or love. But what I am opposed to is hating people and calling that love. Is holding people separate and calling it unity. It's like, don't do that to yourself. Get rid of those pairs of opposites and be only love. Know that we are only and always one. Everything else is an illusion, and it's a delusion of the mind, that you can live in peace and happiness and harmony within yourself and have all this other stuff going on out there. It's not possible. Until everyone is treated as the child of God that they are, I am not going to have my total happiness. And believe me, that is my purpose in life, to be totally happy. God's will for me, according to A Course in Miracles, is only perfect happiness. That's God's will for you, perfect happiness. And not only that, it's my will as well. It's what I want deep within. And I'll never be happy judging somebody else. I'll never be happy while someone else is oppressed. I'll never be happy when someone else doesn't have a place to sleep or a meal to eat. I'll never be totally happy and satisfied until I can see the unity in all, until I can express it, until each and every part of my being feels like it's fulfilling my purpose. So let's go back. This is a little review. We're going to have to go back. Quantum physics reveals what? There's a basic oneness of the universe. Everything is one. Have to keep going back to this fact because this is the answer. This is truly the answer. There isn't another answer. It's not coming from another place. You've received it right here and now. And it's actually proven scientifically that everything is one. Just let that into your consciousness. It'll work on you. It'll get you going in the right direction. It will get you up every morning with purpose and passion to go forth and do what is yours to do. And you won't have any question that that's what you're supposed to be doing. Because you're bringing about a unity. Our unity, God's unity, is also physical. It's intellectual. And it is spiritual. All those domains of universal creation are divinely correlated. And so, since we believe that we're in the physical, we need to bring the spiritual to bear on the physical realm. Since we believe that we are intellectual, we need to bring the spiritual to bear on the intellectual realm. We need to have an awareness that they're divinely correlated and act within that. That's the simplicity of spiritual law for me is I need to practice it. The fifth principle of unity is to know these laws are not enough. We have to live them. And I want to read a little bit from the 5 principles in a moment. But here's the thing. It's so simple. Namaste. What does that mean? I bow to the God in you. But not just from this intellectual point of view, not just from this physical point of view, but the God in me, the place in which the entire universe dwells, honors the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. The God in me honors the God in you. That's all there is, my friends. Everything else kind of starts to fall away. And all I can see now is the God in you. It works. It really works. I'll tell you a really quick story about this. When I was in Colombia visiting and teaching A Course in Miracles, one of my first times there, I didn't know any Spanish, and I had my friends with me, and they brought me to this office because I needed to get my passport stamped so I could stay another 90 days. And while I was there, I saw a lot of people with guns, guards and policemen and everything. And they spoke a different language, and there was a lot of people that seemed a little desperate sitting around in this office, and they were all waiting for something important. Passports can be a very important thing. And so when I first walked in and sat down, and not knowing the language, and my friends went outside for a moment, and he met somebody he knew and started walking away, and I'm sitting there alone without a translator, and I started to feel a little fear. And so what happened was, there was a man standing about from me to Corina. And he had this big, shiny gun, and I started to just say, you know what, that guy's a part of me. I really love you. In my mind, I'm saying this, not out loud. So I was saying inside, show me, that God self. Like, show me who you really are. And I started seeing him just being very relaxed. Yeah, he had a gun, but he was relaxed. He treated it like part of himself. It was like another arm, It was a shiny shotgun. And I could hear his spirit saying, it's just for show. I'm not going to shoot anybody. I just have to, it's my job. I have to carry this thing around. And I realized, yeah, he's not going to shoot me. And, it's just his job. He carries that thing around. It's like another part of him. It's a third arm. It doesn't mean anything. And when I ceased to give it meaning, it stopped having a fearful meaning for me. And I started being able to join with the person behind the facade, behind the uniform, behind the gun, behind our differences. I felt his energy. And we can do that in every situation, in every circumstance. I joined with the energy innate in that person. The next thing that happened was somebody walked in the door and he gives them a big hug and he says, hi, how you doing? He starts talking to them. They're old friends. And then, the next person that comes in, he's greeting them. He was the guard at the door, but actually, he was the greeter. He wasn't the guard, he was the greeter. He was welcoming him into the room. There wasn't anything to be afraid of there. It was just a place that you go and they stamp your passport. It was no big deal. All those stories that we tell ourselves in our mind that make us fearful, let it go and get below. If I can get below the facade, I can join with you. And that's what we do in prayer. We get below the facade of the illness. We get below the facade of what's physically apparent. It's what we do when somebody's passing over. Their body might be really ravaged by the disease or whatever, but we get beyond that and connect with their spirit. And I think it's a very important thing that we receive what everyone is going to teach us, but then move on. Don't stay there. I wasn't going to stay there and start up a workshop in the passport office. How to see the God in your neighbor. No. I'm going to get my passport stamped, and I'm going to go back to the Course in Miracles Center and teach it there. Do you see? So, you don't have to try to change anyone. You don't have to try to offer your spiritual concepts and spiritual experience in places where it's not received. But I can tell you, if you just know it within yourself, those that want it are going to find you. Right, Alan? Correct. They're just going to call you up. They say, I need to talk to you. And there's not going to be anybody else. They need to talk with you because you're the one that they can hear it from. You have a very important place in this world, in this universe. As an expression of God, you are unique. Just be yourself. Everyone else is taken. And those that need to hear it from you will find you. So powerful is this light of unity that I'm expressing to you. Even if you just join with that one person, that, like I joined with that guard, in my mind and in my heart, I really did feel it. I didn't stop at the concept. I really practiced joining with that person, and I really did feel it. And what happened? All my fear disappeared. So our unity is so powerful, it can illuminate the whole earth. But what I want to tell you is it's the only thing that's going to illuminate the earth. It's not a bunch of other stuff. It's not a bunch of concepts. It's not a whole lot of changing your environment. It's changing this environment here and then joining in unity with others. That's such a powerful thing. It truly creates light, what we call spiritual light. Not this kind of light up here. That's good too. But the real light, the spiritual light, that's what it creates. It's an energy that is so amazing. Illumination, think about that, is awareness, is understanding, is joining, and it is acceptance. Our unity is a light that is so powerful, it will illuminate this whole world. So another thing I wanted to say from Black Elk is all things are our relatives. So what we do to everything, we do to ourselves, because all is really one. And that's why this works. If we're judging someone else, we're judging ourselves. If we're hurting someone else, we're hurting ourselves. And the reverse is true. If we're loving, helping, and offering all of our comfort and care and healing to others, guess what we're going to receive? The same thing. We're doing it to ourselves. So, Ramana is a great teacher. I love this guy. He was asked, how do we treat others then? Check out his answer. There are no others. What are you talking about? It's all you, my friend. It's all you. You're just seeing parts of yourself. Well, there's parts of myself I don't like. Well, what was our answer to that before? Extend God's love, right? Oh, you forgot already. I'm going to extend God's love. I'm going to be the love of God in action because I'm always just doing it to myself. So the reality of oneness, I'm going to read it a little bit here from this wonderful book. You guys know this book, The 5 Principles. So we use this book as a foundation for our membership class here. And it's so powerful. It's by Reverend Ellen Davenport. And it's the 5 basic principles of unity. That God is everything, that we are God, that our thoughts create our reality, that we stay connected to this reality through prayer, and we must live it every day in order to keep it. That's the fast version. So imagine living in our oneness with God. Go ahead, imagine that. Imagine living in our oneness with God. Well, life may still have its human difficulties, but our view of them would be changed. Rather than battling an outer enemy, we would take charge of our lives from within. We would transcend our labels of what is good and bad and live in the flow of the universe. So nothing might outwardly change, but we would change inwardly. In the absolute realm, we are all one. And that's the principle. That's the message for today. In the absolute realm, we are all one. But we don't always experience that. We might not fully comprehend absolute reality. We might not fully comprehend that we are all one. So what do? We can know it. We can sense it. And we can live it. We can trust it. We can learn to trust it. We learn to trust in the unseen realm because it becomes a much more real experience to us than what is seen. So how do we live in this oneness? We imagine, just what I read, living in our oneness with God, with everyone. And we practice living our oneness with each other. I think that's the first 2 steps are very important. You have to imagine it. You have to meditate and pray. Pray every day. In any and all ways, we have to imagine our oneness with God. And when we imagine what is true is actually true, it becomes our reality. And we can practice living in that oneness. But first, we have to imagine it. It's an inside job. We have to pray and meditate on a daily basis. And then we can practice our oneness. We're doing it. We're doing it today. And hopefully we're doing it every day. And when I find myself not doing it, I come back to my senses and remind myself of the truth. And how I do that is to get back in the flow with the universe. Whatever it takes. Take a walk on the beach. Get apart from your world for a minute. Go play 9 holes by yourself. Get by yourself and play around the golf, and that will teach you how you really are in your mind. Just get by yourself for a moment and get in the flow of the universe again. Take charge of your life from within. That was the prescription from the Ellen Davenport and the 5 principles, is to take charge of your own life from within. Because we truly believe that everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. That we are creating our experiences by the activity of our mind. What we choose to think, feel, and believe. And so, take charge of your life, my friends. Don't let anything drive your inner world or your inner emotions except for you. Take charge of your inner life. Take charge of yourself. You'll find this so empowering. You are the one in charge of everything. You know, it's often been said, it's not what's going on out there, it's how I respond to it. And so it becomes a really beautiful divine practice to respond with what? The love of God in all circumstances, in all situations, in every single day, in everything that you do, and everything that you say, and everyone that you meet. Remember that we are all one. And I want to remind us one last thing, that if you follow metaphysical Christianity at all, this is the only thing Jesus ever taught, is that we are one and we all have the power of God within us, that we are all divine. This is from Discover the Power Within You by Eric Butterworth. Jesus saw the divinity in all people, and he challenged all men and women to see the good, the God self, in all people with whom they associate. Challenged people to see the God self in everyone you associate. That's my challenge to you and to myself today. Let's see the God self in everyone whom we meet and associate with, and watch your life change from the inside out. It's going to be amazing. You'll say, wow, I never thought it could be so beautiful. You ready, Al? You want to do this with us? All right, man. See the God self. There, I see the God self in you. Thank you, guys. I love you. God bless you. Amen.
You have been watching the message from our Sunday celebration service here at Unity on Cape Cod, providing a positive path for spiritual living. Please join us every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at 147 Walton Ave, Hyannis, Mass. And visit us online at www.unityoncapecod.org.